Alright guys, here we go. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and we're going to go ahead and benchmark the i9 10900K and the RTX 2080 Ti. So let's go ahead, roll my intro, and get right to it. Alright, so we're going to start this out on ultra high settings, and this is the max, and I am actually kind of impressed with this so far. We do get under the 60 frames per second that we would like to see, obviously, and we're only at 1440p. So if we kick this up to 4K, which I'll probably do another video on that, I'm only going to be doing the 1440p in this video, just to let you know. But seeing that we're at 1440p and we're only hitting, the 60 to 65 frames per second, and we do drop under the 60 frames per second, it's not very promising for 4K, not in ultra settings anyway. But I will be actually testing that out. I do like that they're kind of using a lot of the stuff that they had in Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins, so they kind of incorporated a lot of the textures and stuff like that, as you can see. It looks like they added some, different things, like the fire looks a little bit better and stuff like that. So they have like little minor details, but all in all, this is very, very similar to Odyssey so far. It looks really nice, and I mean, with the 2080 Ti, it's running pretty well. And I wish I could have got my hands on a 30 series, so I could have been doing these videos with that, but we all know how that kind of went. Anyway, so it looks like we got around in my benchmark, 55 average, but we have a 63 average and 8 minimum, which I disregard because it's when it loads, and 127 max, and 40% of, or 40 FPS for the 1% low. That's not too bad. Like I said, a little kind of impressed with the performance. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump right to very high settings, and at least right away on this one, we can see that we are staying a little bit more over the 60 frames per second, all the way through. It's not really dipping underneath, it's dropping down, but there's not a huge difference. But now looking at the texture qualities and everything, I don't see a lot of difference between the ultra high and high. So like, I would be very happy with actually playing at this level. You can see a little bit of where it drops off, like the distance, the depth, the field of depth, and that's not too bad. If anybody that's played any type of console, you see that all the time. It's it's things that are like starting to pop up in the distance a little bit, like over there in the right. You see that background is kind of, it appears as you're going in, out of your actual focal distance. But all in all, I mean, it looks great. It's still not bad. And we expect to see a lot with this card, seeing that it's still retailing at like $1,400 or $1,300, and that's just insane. But you can get the 2080 Ti on eBay for like $500-600 now. I've seen it up there a few times. You just have to catch it at the right moment. So let's see what we have for our ending. We have a 68 average, a minimum of 37, which we'll disregard because that's when you load in. We have 129 maximum and a 50 FPS for 1% low. That's not bad at all. All right, so here we go for high quality. And I'm doing all presets only on here. And we can definitely tell that there's definitely a little bit of degrading on the quality here, but we are getting a lot more frames per second, of course. But like you can see the textures, and I've been paying attention to a lot of like the background as we bring the quality down, because your view distance has been going on, and the ground, and like the textures that you're seeing for like the rocks and the walkways and stuff like that. So you can definitely see it goes down, but I have to say it definitely looks not bad. The only thing is that everything is rendering closer to you than being rendered, far away. But you can still see everything like up on the mountain there. So it's not really that bad. There's just not a lot of detail in that distance. But on this one, we're not seeing a lot of boost for FPS. Yeah, so we're getting up to 70 frames per second, but we also notice that we drop down to like the 61 that you'll see on my my FPS counter or my benchmark there. So yeah, it's not that great. But CPU utilization, we're only using 24%, around the 20% mark in all of them. So you're really going off of the graphics card at this point when you're using the 10900K. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results. We have an average of 71, a minimum of 44, a maximum of 119, which is lower than the other ones, so that's kind of weird. But we have a 1% low of 54%. Seeing that we have the average there, I don't know where we're getting the maximum because you don't really see it directly in there. Anyway, let's go ahead and set this to medium. Now medium, you can definitely tell that it's starting to get not so great looking, especially the smoke, the distant smoke. If you look at that, see it like kind of pop up, it kind of just like engulfs everything, and like it's not bad. It's definitely not bad looking because I think what they're doing is they're keeping all the textures in here, and they're just mostly taking your distance away. Like you see how bad it is like over by the river and all that. It's kind of like no texture, no detail to it. There's no water that you can actually tell that it's water that far away. Old school Far Cry. But yeah, I mean the fog looks terrible. Yeah, see now when you come up here and you see that rasterized reflection, it's kind of weird. I kind of wish we had RTX in this, but I haven't been really using RTX even in the games that we can use them in, so not a big deal. We are using more of the CPU on this one. I've seen it like jumping up a little bit. But yeah, we got over 100 frames per second on this one that I could see. I don't know where we got the over 100 before. Well, that's not too bad with medium settings. Yeah, it's a lot better frames, but that distance. Anyway, we got an 85 average, a 49 minimum, 139 max, and we have a 62 1% low, so we do stay over 60 FPS almost all the way through. All right, so now for the lowest quality, and the volumetric cloud sticks at medium. I don't know why. I don't want to turn that off because the preset has us keep it on. But here, now we can see that smoke in the distance is even worse than before. Like you don't even see it like kind of pop up, and then the fog and everything is still there, but anything that's in the distance is just gonna look kind of trashy. But we are getting around 90 FPS and more, and I games like this, I'm not really worried about getting the highest FPS possible. I pretty much am not too worried about it. Like it's kind of like, look at the ground here, it looks kind of trashy. Kind of like 2009, maybe a little earlier, 2005, looking textures. So it wouldn't be a enjoyable gameplay experience for me. Maybe on the laptop with the 2070 or the 1060 that I have, I might go down to like medium, but I don't think I even go down to low unless I actually had to. What I mean, those frames, that part's great. But yeah, our CPU doesn't even break a sweat with this game right now. It's all on the GPU. As you can see, 94%, and it definitely was getting hot during this time too. Anyway, so we have an average of 100 frames per second. We have a 20 minimum, which we ignore, and a max of 141 and a 1% low of 79 frames per second. That's great frames. That's if you want to sacrifice the quality. So let's take a look at everything now. So looking at this, we have 1440p, and we have 60 frames per second, 63 frames per second on average for the ultra high. And you see it only goes up a little bit when we take it down to very high. It looks like the only real benefit that we get in FPS is around the high medium area. So we can get 70 to 85 frames per second. That's where it really jumps up. But between ultra high and very high, I really don't see a reason to go there. The maximums kind of surprise me. They're all in the same area, except for in low we get 140, medium and low. But that's those like I was showing you, the quality just wasn't all there. So you kind of take it as you will, but the 2080 Ti is still amazing card, really good. I definitely suggest looking for a deal on it. I do have the links in the description, but try to find a deal if you're going for the 2080 Ti. I know the 30s are still scarce, and anybody out there that has the money to buy a 3080, 3090 or any of those and refuse to buy it from scalpers, have my respect, man, because no thank you. Anyway, I hope this video was a little informative. We're going to try to get some gameplay videos out. No promises though. I will try to make sure I get the laptops out there, the 2070 and the 1060. So we'll try to get those. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. Y'all take care and happy gaming.